Welcome to the Chairman's Podcast. I hope wherever you're listening from, you can put yourself at the foot of my chair and hear some stories by the crackling fire. Come relax every Monday morning as I release a new chapter from one of my novels. My hope is for you to find yourself entering into new worlds beyond your imagination. So sit back and warm yourself by the fire as I begin. This is Book 1, Tauno, Medric, and the Dragon's Will. Chapter 2, The Three Seats. Waking up, I lay still upon a bed. In my jumbled state, I struggle to work out all that has happened. Piecing together where I could be, I remember all the pain. The searing blood pouring over me, and the shadow of a man who did it. Feeling sick, I turn my gaze away from the dark ceiling. The lingering shadows remind me of the terrible evil I endured. Looking aside, golden rays of light shine through a massive window that overlooks a still, crystal blue lake. Unwilling to get up, I only lie there watching the sphere of untainted light penetrate the room. Feeling revived after the sun had fully risen past the horizon, I lean forwards. A sudden aching pain arises in my lungs. Coughing, I hunch over and stare blankly at the timber floor. Only now do I realize I'm able to see. My blindness from before has passed. Looking out the window again, I sit breathing heavily, attempting to calm the rampant heartbeats in my chest. Each breath burns in my lungs, but no other pain remains. Even after all that torture, I'm still somehow alive. It's almost like magic. Magic! This is all magic. The man who swallowed Hawesville in darkness, and the person who came and saved me, they were mages, which means the place I'm at is... Welcome, Tauno, to the Dragonwill Academy of South Delra. A young girl about my age burst through the front door. Her dark, ocean blue eyes reflect the morning light, glistening like crystals. I'm Rachel. You can call me Ray. How are you feeling? Ah! Why aren't you dressed? Ray shot her hands over her eyes and nearly fell backwards. Excuse me? I yanked the blankets over my bare legs, utterly humiliated. How come you're not dressed? It's 9 o'clock. Ray spoke chaotically as she stumbled around blindly. I don't have any clothes, I say as I pull the blankets further up my body. We put fresh clothes at the end of your bed. She says this and points to a table with one of her hands, while leaving the other over her eyes. Looking to the end of my bed, I see no clothes, but then I realized I must have flung them off when I grabbed the blankets in a hurry. Don't look, I call out sternly. Don't worry, I've seen enough, Ray says as she turns her back to me. Getting up slowly, with the blanket still wrapped around me, I walk to the end of the bed. There, scattered about on the ground, is a navy blue wool vest, a blue long-sleeve shirt, a pair of dark green pants, and my tattered shoes. I quickly put everything on and sit back down on the bed, breathing heavier now because of my sore lungs. All right, you can look now. I say this as I rub the sleep from my eyes and quickly pat down my hair. Okay, let's start over. Ray says this as she sits beside me. Her hair, a bright platinum, waves around as if carried by her own breeze. Her light gray shirt is worn and dirty, but over top she wears a dark green vest to cover it. I'm Rachel, but you can call me Ray. You're here at the Dragonwill Academy of South Delra. I was sent to get you by Lord Mal. We assume you know why, of course. No, I don't know why. You're all mage freaks, and I'm just an average kid. I say this and turn to the window away from Ray. Freaks? Maybe. Mages? No. The mages went extinct centuries ago. We are Dragonwills, gifted people with powers given to us by dragon gods. She says this, and I turn my head towards her. But you should already know all about this. She puts her hand on her hips. Of course I know about you Dragonwills, if that's what you're called. I've been taught to stay away from people like you. And after what happened in Hawesville, I think I understand why. Looking back to the window, I watch the golden light, letting it wash away the dark memories. But if you think I know why you came for me, you're sadly mistaken. But your father, you should at least know about him, right? Ray spoke softly, almost confused as to why she was with me. My father? What about him? He died just before I was born, but the Dragonwills had nothing to do with it. I pause, remembering what I was told. He was found frozen to death during one of his trading runs. Nothing magical about it, or him. I stand up and walk to the window. Everything about this place was bright and perfect, but the lingering darkness still had a hold on me, as remorse towards these people rippled through my heart. Tauno, you should come with me. Lord Mal will explain everything so that you can understand. Ray stands and goes to the door opposite of me. Fine, I sigh. Take me to this Lord Mal. We turn and walk to the front door. This, Tauno, is the academy. She spreads her arms out as she pushes the door open, gesturing to the world before me. The first thing I can see are the massive pine trees spread out far beyond sight. It was as if the academy was carved into the forest. Deep green pines seemed to flourish in this clean, sunny light. Many pine needle-layered paths intersected along the ground, leading from cabin to cabin. Dark painted wood paneled the sides of these massive, beautiful cabins, and down a hallway of trees stands a cabin larger than the rest. That's the lodge. Meals are in there along with open space to relax and hang out. Ray points to the log cabin beyond the trees. But we are going there. She turns and gestures to a small rustic cabin that sits upon a grassy hill with only one path leading to it. Aren't there supposed to be people here? I ask as we walk along the path. No one was around, and silence seemed to fill the natural air. They're all in the lodge having breakfast. We can get you some food after, Ray says and continues on ahead. Then my stomach begins to ache. Only now do I realize I haven't eaten in probably a couple of days. Walking slowly up the hill, I begin to see more of the cabin. A small symbol hangs above the door. It's a pentagon with 5 stars within it. The symbol looks somewhat familiar, but the reason was lost to me. Ray got to the door first and knocked softly. A scruffy man opens it and welcomes us inside. With a smile, Ray greets him kindly, but I only nod as I pass by. The wonder and magnitude of reality slowly chipped away at me. Still hazed, I stepped inside, further into this world. Tauno, I'd like to introduce you to the council, Ray says as she opens another door. The fragrant smell of burning wood fills my sore lungs as we step inside. Mystic light is cast down from the chandeliers above, and I can see before me 3 people, all seated on their own throne. In the center, a young man. He didn't notice us at first. On his left, a lady, and on his right, a man. Both looked like disappointed parents. The man on the right, sitting tall, gazes fiercely, his body carved up with scars. At his side rests a long 2-handed greatsword. Chipped and battered, there was no doubt the man and the sword had seen many battles. The lady, fair and beautiful, sat thoughtfully. Silver hair ran down her neck and shoulders, like a river flowing to her chest. Glancing at me only slightly, she quickly returns her attention to a large book that lay open on her lap. The young man sits in the middle. His eyes don't indicate a care in the world. He almost looks to be in the wrong place, reclining on his throne with his back against one armrest and his feet kicked over the other. His representation is the epitome of youth. Staring up at the ceiling, he fondled a small object in his hands. Ahem, coughed the fierce man on the right. Shooting upright, the man in the middle turns immediately to me. Tauno! He jumps off his throne and tosses the small object into the air. A small silver glint catches my eye, just as he grabs it. Then he skips along the floor, right up to me. Sticking out his hand to shake mine, I see the small silver object is a ring. It bears the same symbol that hangs above the door. Pausing briefly, the man blinks mischievously. A slow one, are ya? He giggles to himself. Then I realize I haven't shaken his hand in return. Sorry. I stutter as I stick out my hand and shake his. Don't be. I'm just pulling your leg. Still a lot to take in, I bet. Finally knowing all about who you are and what your father has done. He speaks loud and playfully. Compared to the 2 behind him, it's almost as if he were a child amidst his parents. I don't actually know anything. I stammer some words out, still being caught off guard by this man's attitude. You don't know anything? Now that's hard to believe. The man chuckles some more to himself. Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean when you say, I've learned who I am and who my father was. I fumble my words out as I start to wrap my head around what's going on. But then the man turns to Ray. Rachel, what does he mean he doesn't know? Didn't his mother tell him? And I told you, if his mother hasn't, then you should when he wakes up. Now why is he here saying he doesn't know anything? The man, still playful, but more stern now, loudly exclaims this to Ray. Well, I just thought that maybe you'd explain things better than myself, Lord Malion. Ray stutters. She's even struggling to talk to this Lord Malion. Then it hits me. This Lord Malion is the Lord Mal Ray was talking about. This man is supposed to explain everything to me. You were right to do so, Ray. I dare say I'd be the best person to explain. Then Lord Malion turns to me.
Well, if you didn't catch it, I'm Lord Malion of the Dragonwill Academy of South Delra. But most people call me Lord Mal.
He says this, then glances at Ray.
I know you call me it behind my back.
He sticks out his tongue at Ray and then turns back to me.
Everyone tries to be so formal. It kind of puts a damper on the mood.
He motions to the two sitting in their thrones.
Why don't we speak outside?
Lord Mal takes both my arm and Ray's and leads us back out onto the path. Walking outside, Lord Mal lets go of us and leaps ahead. Scanning the sunny sky, I watch the frail clouds above slowly disperse and vanish. Walking backwards, Lord Mal stares at us blankly. Avoiding roots and trees, he follows the path perfectly.
So, you really don't know anything. You weren't just pulling our legs in front of the grumps.
Lord Mal looks at me in the eyes, as if attempting to read my thoughts. I told you already. I don't. I don't know why I'm here, I don't know what is with you Dragonwills, and I sure enough don't know why you're so interested in my father. I cast myself aside and stand facing the deep blue lake. Taking a shaky breath, I watch a flock of birds fly overhead and perch themselves upon a tall and sturdy pine tree. My father died before I was born, and all my mother would tell me was that he was a great man, but she never said he was special or gifted or that I was either. Growing up, we were taught to stay away from people like you Dragonwills. I turn myself to face Ray, Lord Mal, and the Academy. Your world is far too dangerous to be meddling around in the small towns of Keeladel. A man nearly killed me today, or yesterday, whenever it was. I don't want to be a part of this. I brush my hair away from my eyes and clear away the forming tears.
Tauno, do you recognize this ring?
Lord Mal lifts his hand and shows the silver ring. On it is the symbol of the pentagon with 5 stars.
Do you?
Lord Mal pressed harder with his words and lifted the ring closer to my face. I don't think so. As the words fell from my lips, a sudden image struck me. There was a young man standing beside my mother with his arms draped around her. The man was my father, Veldor. The image was a still life drawing of my parents that was framed and placed on a shelf in our house. My father's right hand, the one draped around my mother's side, had a small silver ring on it. Upon the ring was a faint symbol, a pentagon, with 5 stars inside it. No, I say aloud.
No.
All right. Lord Mal brings his hand down in disappointment. No, I have. My legs begin to tremble. Tauno? Ray grabs me and puts my arm around her shoulder.
So you have. Now let me guess. Was your father wearing it?
Lord Mal leans in, right up to my face. Pulling me back, Ray gives me a bit of space from him. He was, in a portrait in my house. What does this mean? I begin to shake some more.
Well, nothing, if you choose not to care. However, Ray here believes you're a dragon's eye, like your father was.
A dragon's eye? The most powerful of all the Dragonwill classes, and the most rare, Ray says as she struggles to hold me up. What does this mean for me?
It means you have a choice to make.
Lord Mal's face relaxes, and he draws back.
You can stay here for the night, and contemplate your decision.
What decision?
There are 2 paths that you may choose from. You can stay here, learn from us, and hone your skills. Or you can turn back, forget what you saw, and go back to your hometown.
Pivoting on his heel, Lord Mal trotted back to his cabin.
Ray will take you to the lodge for breakfast.
Aren't you going to explain things further? I call out as confusion fills me.
That was Ray's job in the first place. She can deal with it,
Lord Mal said with a laugh as he left us. End of Chapter 2. Thank you for listening, and come back next Monday for Chapter 3, Just the Beginning.